all of us, all together, starting imperfectly. And you can choose whichever way, or you can choose all.
Thank you for listening to me. I get really passionate about these things because it's a life or death situation. Just because you haven't died doesn't mean that there's no problem. Just look at the newspaper. Like right now, for every page you turn, there's always a catastrophe that has happened somewhere. We can't leave it. We'd assume someone would do it. I'm guilty of it. The fact that you're alive, you're still alive, you have to be thankful. You're fortunate because there's so many people that have lost their homes. There's so many that are religious, they are good people, but they died. And it's all due to these environmental catastrophes that perhaps another country really caused. Everybody has to do their part. Yes, we have someone to blame, but what is the solution? You can't expect that country to only work towards being green. Everybody has to be on board, however little. And just imagine if everybody in the world adopts a little thing to make the planet a bit better. I'm happy I'm inspiring my boyfriend a bit because he leaves the light on a lot of times. So after I released, I think it's the fourth video or third video, then he just switched and changed. So that's what I want, you know. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You watching me and just thinking I'm ranting. But it's important. That can be through various ways. Like this is something I want to start doing. I've noticed that there are days that I go on without touching meat or dairy products. And I want that to be a habit. I'm picking maybe next week where just have vegan Mondays and have no meat, have no dairy products. As a step to reducing my footprint. Because as we know, cows produce a lot of methane. And because of the demand of beef, you have factories or farms that are rearing these cows. They produce up to 20% of our methane emissions, cows. So it can be through that way, or it can be through your beach cleanups. Going wherever you go to the beach, start picking, and whatever you pick, you go to a plastic recycle center to give in your bottles that you picked. Or it can be through being environmentally conscious in your fashion. It can be by conserving electricity, conserving water. Like honestly, one of my dream houses, I want a system to be made where whatever water is wasted from bathing is used to flush my toilet, or whatever wastewater coming from the kitchen is used to flush toilets. You know, just conserving water. That's something I really want. Everybody has to be on board. You can never say you're too small to make a difference. I mean, look at Greta Thunberg. Yes, some people are against her, some people are for, but she has caused children to protesting on the street. Climate actions have to be made or done or enforced. There was this conference I went to in the States last year, actually Al Gore's trainings, the climate reality. And he was having a conversation with a New York Times columnist. And the columnist said, yeah, it's cool. It's okay to tweet and retweet and post things about the environment. But for a proper change, if you are really passionate, you have to be a mean Greenie. Or I don't know if he said green meanie, I can't remember, but that stuck with me. And I thought, yeah, I am working in Ufasi Park, but I just get the sense that what are we working for? Because there are still people that cannot relate the presence of a tree to their life. And that's how this show came up. I mean, even the people that were against police brutality in the States. They started at a tender age of maybe 14, 17, and they stood for something. The environment is what we have to stand for now, because anything you're fighting for, racism, equality, LGBTQI rights, they won't matter in the least if we don't have somewhere to live in. And that is not to minimize other issues, but I'm trying to highlight that the environment is a huge issue. We're just not making a big deal out of it. If you don't know, right now in Assam, there's a huge flood that is happening, and all the animals in the national park, they're either drowning or they're displaced. I mean, look at this COVID pandemic. Part of the conversation is it was laboratory made. Part of it is saying it's gotten from an animal. Everything is connected, and that's just what I want to share with everybody, explain to everyone that everything is connected. You might feel it doesn't have to do with you, like that man that I took on tour, right? Trees that give oxygen is great, but it has nothing to do with me. You breathe the oxygen. You know, everybody's mind is in building more, finding places. Yes, you want to develop, but develop smartly. Change the way you develop. Don't concretize the whole estate. Leave a green space. So things are happening. I mean, who has heard of a cyclone in Africa? Well, we had that in Mozambique last year. I mean, I saw a video last year of polar bears roaming around Russia because the north is too hot and they are in search of food. And for polar bears, you know, if they don't have the ice, they don't have animals to hunt. And if they don't, they start reducing in numbers too. Their babies cannot survive. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. That is even the first thing I said in my first video, that I'm not perfect. But I think critiquing, it's just a time waste. Because if you're critiquing whether this is the right way or not, you're just sitting in front of your computer and talking, but you're not really doing anything. I find that with a lot of people. So rather than let us start imperfectly, yes, we need the government to come in, we need this to happen, we need that to happen. But what about you? What about your outlook? What are you doing? This thing gets to me because I might not be able to live, if this continues, I might not be able to live till my last days. It might be cut short. It might be a catastrophe. And it is coming. I mean, we already read about it. Oh, in some country, but even here in Lagos, in Lafiaji Alpha Beach, there is a community that is so displaced because every time the water comes in, it's dragging the sands back and there's a huge erosion. It's all of us, all together, starting imperfectly. And you can choose whichever way. Or you can choose all. Try and do all. Let's start imperfectly. We don't have time anymore, to be honest. Like, the future really is looking bleak. And scientists say we have to start now, because in 8 years, the repercussions will be irreversible. Like, after 8 years, whatever you do after 8 years, it won't matter again. So let's start. This is Monica, your mean Greenie, signing out. I hope I touched you in some way, and not only touched for this moment, but I want you to take it and actually practically work towards what I've been saying. And hey, you're not alone. I will be doing that too. Catch you next time.